Your baby's brain is forming over 1 million neural connections every single second right now. And the strongest thing shaping all of that is you. Not toys, not programs, not anything fancy, just you in your everyday moments. Have you ever caught yourself doing something small with your baby and suddenly thought, wait, does this matter more than I think? Picture yourself with your baby right now, maybe holding them or just watching them quietly. They depend on you to understand their world, so take a second and subscribe. You're doing this for both of you. And I'll tell you this now, what we're going to uncover at the end is probably the most important thing for your baby's development, and almost nobody talks about it. And this starts in moments that feel completely normal. Your baby can't explain what they feel. They can't say this is too much or that didn't feel right, but they are absorbing everything. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you react, even when you think nothing is happening. Most days feel repetitive, right? Feed, change, calm, repeat again. But underneath that routine, something much deeper is unfolding. Their brain is building expectations about how the world works. Tell me something real. How has today been with your baby? One of those smooth days, or one of those overwhelming ones? And one of the most important patterns begins in a moment most people ignore. That soft cry in the background while you're finishing something. You tell yourself, just a second, let me get this done. It feels harmless, almost automatic. But inside your baby, their body is reacting, their system is turning on, stress levels rising, trying to figure out what this means. Because to them, that pause doesn't feel neutral, it feels uncertain. And repeated uncertainty becomes a pattern. Have you ever noticed how sometimes that quiet cry suddenly turns into something much more intense out of nowhere? And what feels like a small delay actually changes something deeper. Now think about your voice when you're drained. Not angry, not loud, just tired. You pick them up, you say the right things, but something in your tone is different. Slightly faster, slightly sharper, just enough to be felt. Your baby doesn't understand language yet, but they read your voice like a signal. And that signal tells them whether things are okay or not. Their reaction doesn't wait for logic, it happens instantly. Tap like if you've ever seen. Your baby settle faster when your voice softens, and tell me in the comments if you've noticed that difference. And this is where things start to connect in a way you didn't expect. This is where everything shifts. You're not trying to become perfect, you're just becoming aware. And that awareness changes your reactions naturally. Think about your baby looking up at you, studying your face like it's the most important thing in the world. Because to them, it is. You can hit subscribe now, because understanding these moments is how you build something real with them. And the more you notice, the more natural everything feels. And what your baby does next will make a lot more sense now. There's another scene you've probably lived through. Someone comes in excited, smiling, trying to interact with your baby. And suddenly your baby turns away, avoids eye contact, almost like they're shutting down. People laugh and call it shyness. But that's not what's happening. That's your baby protecting their limits. That's them saying, this is too much for me right now. And when that gets ignored, something small but powerful is learned. Does your baby ever pull away like that when things get intense around them? And once you see this, you'll start catching it everywhere. At some point, you start connecting all these dots. What used to feel random now feels predictable, and that changes how you respond without even thinking about it. Share something personal. What's one little thing your baby does that only you understand? Something others might miss completely. And this leads into something that changes how you see their emotions entirely. Now picture your baby overwhelmed, crying hard, unable to settle. You try to soothe them, you say you're okay, hoping it helps. But inside, they don't feel okay yet. And that gap between what they feel and what they hear stays there for a moment. Babies don't regulate on their own, they use you to find calm again. And when that process isn't complete, the emotion doesn't disappear, it lingers quietly. Tap like if you've ever had a moment where nothing seemed to work, and tell me what usually helps your baby calm down. And this is where something very subtle starts to matter a lot. There's a detail so small it almost goes unnoticed. You're there, physically present, but your attention drifts for a moment. Your expression changes just slightly, less engagement, less response, and your baby catches it instantly. Research from Edward Tronick showed how quickly babies react when connection pauses. They try to bring you back because your face is their main reference point. Have you seen your baby doing little things just to get your attention back when you're distracted? And what seems like nothing is actually everything to them. We're surrounded by constant stimulation, sounds, lights, movement, everything happening all the time. It feels like more stimulation means more growth. But your baby's system isn't ready for that level yet. What feels normal to you can feel overwhelming to them. And when that happens, their response isn't calm, it's escalation or shutdown. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer is simplicity. Tell me, how does your baby behave when things get too busy or noisy? And this is where the quiet moments become the most important. There's a moment where you realize something important. You're already doing so much just by being there, by paying attention, by caring enough to learn this. Think again about your baby looking at you right now. They rely on you for everything. You can press subscribe because continuing to understand them is one of the best things you can give them. And this is only the beginning. And now we're getting closer to the part most people never think about. Every time your baby reaches, looks, or makes a sound, there's a small opening for connection. These moments are brief but powerful. When you respond, you strengthen something inside them. When they pass, nothing dramatic happens, but the opportunity fades quietly. Over time, those small moments shape everything. Tap like if you've noticed your baby reacting more when you follow their attention instead of redirecting it. And what happens next ties everything together. Then there's leaving, even for a short moment. You step away quietly, hoping to avoid tears. But from their perspective, something changes instantly. You were there, and now you're not. No signal, no transition. And that creates confusion, not just in that moment, but in what they begin to expect. Tell me, what usually happens when you leave the room? Do they notice right away or take a second? And this builds into something even deeper. Touch is one of the strongest signals of safety they have. Holding them, carrying them, keeping them close. That physical connection regulates their entire system. Without enough of it, something feels slightly off, even if everything else seems fine. They need that closeness more than we sometimes realize. Tap like if your baby instantly relaxes when you hold them close. And now we arrive at the part that changes everything. And this last part is probably the most real. You can be doing everything right on the outside, feeding, holding, caring. But inside, you're tired, maybe stressed, maybe somewhere else mentally. And your baby feels that too. Because they don't just experience what you do, they experience how you are. Your state becomes their state. Your calm, your tension, all of it transfers. Tell me honestly, how has your energy been lately when you're with your baby? And this is the piece most people never realize. And just take a moment here. This isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about understanding what's actually happening underneath the surface. Your baby doesn't need perfection. They need you to return, to reconnect, to show up again and again. That's what builds their sense of safety. Imagine your baby looking at you right now, trusting you completely. You can subscribe and keep learning this, because understanding them like this changes everything.